This is one of the stabilization points in the Bakhmut direction. It has everything necessary to rescue wounded servicemen who are brought here directly from the frontline trenches. During the evacuation, combat medics try to give them all the necessary help until they are brought here. Then the doctors take over, they do their best to stabilize the wounded and send them to the hospitals.
На стампункті всі працюють.
At the emergency room, everyone works according to what needs to be done. Whether you're a surgeon or a traumatologist, whether you're a gynecologist or an anesthesiologist, even the paramedic or veterinarian. Everybody works the same way here. Why? Because they do basically the same job, saving the wounded, restoring their vital function in the shortest possible time, stopping the bleeding, stabilizing the patient, and that's it. There's not really much surgical work involved, but all the skills that we have from experience, each doctor from his own specialty, we are trying to apply them here.
Sviatoslav is a surgeon. He has decades of experience working in the surgical department of emergency medicine at regional hospitals. For the last 5 years, he has been practicing in a private clinic. He was mobilized to the war in 2023. Before going to the front, he took a course of field surgery. He shares what was the hardest thing to get used to when he got to the front line.
Conditions change completely. From home where you have a shower, bath, sauna, in some cases bathhouses, to a situation where there is no water at all. You do not have that opportunity. Firstly, there is no time to wash. Secondly, perhaps there is no water. Thirdly, if there is, it is always cold. Again, it limits you. So, for me personally, it took about 3 weeks to get used to it, to adapt to such conditions, to develop some algorithm of actions, when to get up, how to get up, what to do after and that, and where to run. Because it's like being in a train carriage, you know? The time of action comes and everyone goes to wash or to the toilet or to some other room at the same time, and you realize that you can't really get there when you want to. So you had to work out some kind of order of action for yourself, so that everyone would be comfortable and you would have time to do it.
Before going to the front, Ihor worked as a children's traumatologist in Chernivtsi. His wife and 2 children, his parents and friends are waiting for him at home. Here he is saving people whose relatives also wait for their return. Ihor says what words he remembers the most from the recruitment center.
Warriors have parents too. Accordingly, they are all children, which means that I am following my own profile. The adjustment has been relatively smooth. I can't say it's any different. Outside, I mean, the atmosphere, the explosions, the heats, it's all a bit depressing, and work is always work. You just have to get up and do your job.
Recently, most wounded brought to the stabilization center are servicemen with shrapnel wounds and sometimes bullet injuries. Ihor tells about one of the cases he remembers. Back then, the defender who was brought to the emergency room with various wounds could not believe that a bullet was stuck in his cheek.
A serviceman came to us. He was brought by evacuation. He had an injury on his face, so we already had a machine, so we took an X-ray. It showed that he had a bullet in the jaw area. 2 days after the wound, we made a decision that it should be taken away. Under local anesthetic, under lidocaine, we took away the bullet, from which we preserved.
Do you often have bullets stuck in the body?
There have been bullets before. This is not the first one. We used to work in other structures. There were such cases, they were taken away. This is now new for us. The realities at the moment are like this.
2 wounded Ukrainian servicemen have now been brought to the stabilization point. Medics say that they have shrapnel in their bodies from an enemy FPV drone.
Трохи вниз.
Якщо що, то ти...
Дуже там овочей не зробили, подивилися, там невеличко.
Все, так. А з цієї сторони осколок один. Одно. Я так думаю, що дати зажимчик? Ні, дай мені на секунду.
After the shrapnel has been removed from the serviceman's body, he is given a chance to rest in the nearby room, brought tea, and carefully covered with a blanket. The medical staff decorate the walls of the emergency station with children's drawings, which are handed in by volunteers. They portray how children see Ukraine's victory over the evil, write poems, and say that they're waiting for their parents to come back home. Every day, medics save the lives of dozens of servicemen so that they can return to their children and families alive and healthy. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Anastasia Volkova, Artem Voronin, UATV News.